This is John for Global Traveler. Today I have the real pleasure of talking travel and football with one of my favorite Chicago Bears, Raymont Harris, the Ultra back. How are you, sir?
Hey John, what's up, man? I'm doing really well, man. Thank you so much for having me on the show today. I
Man,
appreciate
it's
it.
such a thrill. I've seen you play so many times at Soldier Field. Obviously, you're never going to remember me, but I was part of the media corps sometimes there. You were always great to us, and I sincerely
Thank you.
appreciate that.
Appreciate
Uh,
that, man, for sure.
we're here to talk about your book. You got a new book out called Control the Controllables, Mindset, Pressure, and the Power of Control. First, I want to just talk a little bit about your background. You played for
Yeah.
the Chicago Bears, as I mentioned, also for the Packers, a couple other teams. What made the Bears special?
Uh, well, so many different reasons. Chicago is one of my all-time favorite cities. And growing up, what people didn't realize is that my favorite football player was Walter Payton.
Ah,
So, he's my favorite running back, my favorite all-around player. And because of him, I love the Chicago Bears as well. So fast forward, from as a little kid, 15 years later, I end up having a chance and opportunity to play for the Bears.
wow.
It was like a huge highlight of my life. Not only that, but that's the franchise that invested in me. Coming out of college, I was drafted in the fourth round. And so that means every team in the league passed me up a couple of times. But the Chicago Bears saw something in me that um, made them believe that I was, in fact, the guy. So the fact that a franchise would have that kind of loyalty, would invest those kinds of resources into me, man, it makes it easy for Chicago to be my number one place.
Well, you did pay out. You had 4 great years. You rushed for over 1,000 yards. You certainly earned your keep on the Bears. You played a year for the Packers. How was that to then go to that side? And I don't hate the Packers, but there is
Sure.
a strong rivalry. How was that to
Yeah.
switch sides?
It was tough. It was tricky. And, a lot of my teammates, they were calling me my ex-teammates at that point. They were calling me a traitor. And, the fans were really letting me have it for sure. But I totally understood it because, you know, that is the oldest rivalry in the NFL. And it was filled with hatred. And in the early mid 90s, the Packers really had the Bears numbers. So there was a lot of big brothering that the Packers were doing to the Bears during that time. And I was on the receiving end of that for a lot of it. So to switch and then go to the different franchise, I understood the hatred, but honestly, people were always respectful. They always remember like what I had done, like for the franchise. And to be honest, I would have played my entire career in Chicago if the front office, had done the right thing. So it really wasn't my fault. I didn't want to be there, but hey, they showed the most interest in. And looking back, I'm very proud and happy that I had a chance to go up there and play.
You have every reason to be proud. Absolutely. Now,
Thanks,
in
man.
your college career and your pro career, you obviously traveled to a lot of different stadiums. Which one would you say one or two stadiums were your favorite?
My favorite place to go was this is gonna be crazy, but I like going to Oakland. And it wasn't because, the city was so great or the playing in their Coliseum was so wonderful. It was the fact that the fans were so rabid and they were mean and crazy. And they were dressed in Darth Vader masks and makeup, and they would throw batteries at you. Like
Oh,
that's the kind. Oh yeah, for sure. That's the kind of energy that like the Oakland fans would give. And you know what, man? Like it to some people it may seem and sound crazy, but like as a player and as an athlete, as a guy who fed off of opposition, I enjoyed going places where it was like really crazy like that. And happens to be number one for me.
what was always in your must brings? What two or three things did you have to bring aside from like your playbook and stuff like that on every trip you've gone?
For me, the number one thing is and has always been my music. All right. Gotta have my music. Gotta have the music. And that's why I believe, I think it's controversial, but I think the iPod and that kind of stuff is like the greatest invention of all time because I'm someone who's always been closely aligned with music, whether it was like old soul, um, even like classic rock, and that takes me back to the good old days of driving around with my father, like in his car, and we only had AM radio, and then now all the way up to hip hop. So hip hop music and any and all music has always served as like the backdrop for me being able to kind of lock in and zone in. So if I'm going somewhere, whether it's for work or for pleasure, I gotta have my music, man. That's number one.
And I forgot, I have to ask you one more question about football.
Yeah, for sure.
Football cards, did you collect them as a kid, and how did it feel when you landed on one?
Oh, absolutely, man. I was a huge football card, just trading card collector, but like baseball and as well as basketball. I would always get the I think it was tops.
Yep.
So and I get my I remember buying a couple of, let's say, 3 or 4 packs, open them up immediately, chill, and then I would have to chew that stale ass gum. Of course, it was only good for like 5 or 6 chews, but then you'd always have like one good card, and then you have a number of cards that you know that were not your favorite. So I remember that growing up as a kid, and so when I finally got a chance my rookie year to be on a trading card, it was surreal. It didn't feel like a like it was a real thing happening to me, but honestly, that was the true first indicator for me that I had arrived where I wanted to go. Yeah.
I remember I wasn't a kid, but I remember opening up a pack and finding a Raymont Harris card, and I was very happy to have the Ultra back in my. So,
There we go. Yeah, the
so
ultra
let's
back
talk
card.
about your book. Tell me,
Okay.
what can we expect? Tell me all about the Control the Controllables.
Well, I created a framework. I started, I became a public speaker, and I had been speaking to like audiences, and people were really fascinated when they heard like my origin story and realizing that I did not have a charmed life. And so after people would hear like the details of my life, they would ask immediately, how the hell did you make it from like those early circumstances to levels of success? And I told them it was I controlled what I could control, you know. So with that being said, I created a framework, and it's 8 controllables that help me get from tiny Lorraine, Ohio, to talking to you today, John. And I split them up into 2 different groups: mindset controls and performance controls. The mindset controls are belief, positivity, commitment, and patience. And then the performance controls are consistency, adaptability, resilience, and effort. And it's my belief, man, if you put your energy and effort into these things right here, and you can be the best version of you. So the speaking had been going really well, so much so that I was able to turn that framework into an actual book. So what I did was I took the speech, I turned it into a book, and then I expanded on each of the controllables, and it released on January 15th. 2 weeks ago, and I'm happy to say that it is currently the number one football biography new release on Amazon right now, this very second. Yeah, let's go.
I've got mine on order. It hasn't come in
There you
yet,
go.
but I've got it. It's going to go up. Are you kidding? I have to have the book.
There you
I
go for
can't wait to
sure.
read
That's a
it.
good.
I
Thank you, man.
love the concept because it's a concept that I firmly believe in. Whatever, the more you can control about situations, the better you're going to go. And I can't wait to dive into the book.
Yeah.
What did you learn about yourself through writing the book?
Well, I truly learned, honestly, that you know, it's sometimes we get caught up with life, and it happens quickly and fast, and all these different things will throw you off and have you start feeling like, man, like stressing and feeling pressured and feeling like, yeah, you want to just jump in there and control things. But like life just isn't, it doesn't work like that. And it never has. And what I truly realized is that the same controllable things that I talk about in this book, the same exact things that helped me get from Lorraine and allowed me to come up with a different view and picture of myself, to not have to follow the crowd, to not have to feel like I had to live up to somebody else's views of like who I needed to be. Like that's those same strengths that helped me get from Lorraine to Ohio State University to the NFL to afterwards, even building my life back up after it collapsed from the transition of losing my sport. All of that stuff has always still been consistent with me. So being able to understand that just because you haven't been using those things doesn't mean that you don't have it, at your disposal anymore. Doesn't mean that you're not still someone that you should be believed in, someone who can still be like adaptable and resilient. So being able to kind of put that all together and understand that I'm still the same person that I've always been has been one of the most valuable parts of the book.
So much like the football card, when you first saw the finished product, the finished book,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
what went through your head? Because that's a huge part of your life. It's a huge part of your
yeah.
mindset.
For sure. I was like, oh, look at my little baby. This is my baby. I held it up high like Simba. I put it over my head. I'm like, yeah, this is my book right here. It's fascinating because I've never been like someone who was big into like writing. I've been a creative writer, but never someone who sat down and wrote research papers and did things like that. But going through like this entire process, I learned so much about me that number one, if it's important and it matters, you'll lock in and you can do it. That's what I learned, number one. And then number two, like when you look at these controllables and you look at the things that are on the surface, I think it looks simple. And that's good because I think that allows for everyone to be able to kind of understand it. But what you realize is just because it's simple, it doesn't mean that it's easy. It's kind of like hard work. So, giving people language to understand the controllables and then giving them like skills as well as exercises to be able to improve the controllable and then helping them understand like how to overcome like different challenges. I think that right there allows for like a great deal of like tangibles that people can take away from the book and then also refer to it whenever times are going tough for them.
Any thoughts of putting a an autobiography out, or is there a lot of that in the book?
Ooh, good question, John. So with it, so what I did with the book was I tell my story. So it's part memoir, part survival manual. It's I tell all my story from growing up in Lorraine to making it in the league through the eight controllables. So I take each chapter has a chapter of my life. So it either coincides with Lorraine or and then maybe into school, making it to Ohio State, and then dealing with challenges with within Ohio State, and then making the transition. Each one of them has pieces of the controllable in my story. So this is part of my story right here, but I am absolutely now that I've gone through the process and I'm no longer afraid of it anymore, I can now like do what I believe is going to be my actual memoir down the line.
Sweet. I certainly would love to read that. Any
Yeah, it's
chance
good, man.
you gonna do any appearances with the book? You gonna do any signings, hopefully in the Chicago area?
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I we had a huge book launch a couple weeks ago, and it went really well. And I'm going to do a tour. I just don't have any specifics yet, but Chicago's absolutely going to be one of my places. So once it is, it's up and running, or once we have like the ideas and the venues and where we're going to be able to go, we'll definitely make sure we get that information out to everybody.
Well, if you're coming to Chicago and I'm in town, I will absolutely be there. That would be the
I would
coolest
love that
thing. I would
for
love
sure.
to.
Absolutely, I
And
would love that, man.
whenever you come out with your autobiography, certainly come back. We'd love to talk to you about that as well.
For sure, I love it. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Before I let you go, tell everybody all the information. Tell everybody whatever you'd like to about your book, where you could find it, and your synopsis.
Okay. So if you need to get in touch with me, you can always get in touch with me. I'm on all the social medias, but my website is www.RaymontHarris, my full name.com. On that website, you'll have people are able to book me for speaking engagements. They're able to collect, to get the book. They're able to use. Uh, I like to be someone that provides value for sure for people for sure. So there are also opportunities to be able to take quizzes and do different things that can serve as tangible things that you can take away from the site. In addition to that, being able to purchase the book, you can go to Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Walmart, all those places like online. You can secure Control the Controllables right there. If there is any interest, and I've had a lot of this, if people want signed copies of the book, I find that to be like very flattering. So I absolutely make it available. So if you are interested in getting a signed copy, you either go to the website or you can go to Instagram or catch me on one of the social medias. Send a message, and I can work it out with you from there to be able to go to my PayPal, and then I can send you a personalized signed book. So I got all those bases covered, man, for everyone to be able to go out and be able to get control the controllables.
You're doing it right, man. I gotta say
Yes,
that
sir.
you got all the fields covered.
Thank you, man. I'm trying to, man.
Raymond, really, it's been a pleasure. I also want to thank you for what you did for the Chicago Bears. You were a great asset, not only on the field, off. Everyone loved you here, and we remember you well. 20 some years after you left Chicago, we still love you, man.
Thank you,
So
brother. I appreciate it.
I
Thank you.
appreciate your time. I encourage everyone to check out the book, Control the Controllables. I haven't read it yet, obviously. From talking to you, from reading the reviews, I can't wait to dive into it. So, Raymond,
That's
thank
right.
you very much. Safe travels, my friend.
Thanks, my guy. John, be good, man. All the best. Bear
Thank
down.
you, sir.
Hmm